came to me in the dream night. You came to me in my dream sight. I had a vision of the light. You came to me in the nightlight. I wanted Lord in the miasma. Greetings, companions of the night and the light. I'm your host, Mickey Fantasy, the Fantasyman, Prince of Dreams, Raconteur of the night. Looking for something that's different, want to see a show that's more than ordinary, mundane, mendacious, looking for an inkling into the light of the life of the illumined one, then come with me on a sojourn in today's show of portent and potency, the poetry of life, an exploration into the salient aspect of the poetry of life, and the sojourn of the narrative of one's life journey, and the route and roadway and sequence and alliteration one needs take to ascend to the joy, to the ecstasy, to the logos. But first, let me introduce you to our intellectual co-host, Constantine.
Thank you for having me.
My brother.
It's a pleasure and an honor, as always.
It's a gas, brother.
Brothers in spirit, warriors of the realm.
Yes, we traverse the light, sarcastic.
That's right.
Speak to me, brother, on the poetry of life.
The poetry of life. The ebb and the flow. Sometimes life seems to me like a beautiful flower. You lean right down and finally see there's a demon-possessed wasp inside ready to pop right out and poke your eyes out.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I'm being a little dramatic.
Yes, we like the melodrama.
It's the ebb and the flow, the yin and the yang. You know, it's the dark and the light. You know, the experience is...
Yes, the point, the counterpoint.
The power within, the extremes.
The power and the glory.
And
the sacred and the profound.
That's right. Being able to really feel and experience that in its totality, and not to ascribe to one type of idea of what life should be like, but really being open to the mystery of life. I think that is the sacred realm, the mystery of life.
Yes.
Not what is known, but really what is unknown.
The growth, the elevation, the levitation, the sacredness, the elementalness, the authenticity of the poetry of life. As we journey from the womb to the tomb.
That's right.
In the beginning, at the middle, and at the apex of the end. The sequence.
Amen, brother.
The design, the delineation. We, yes, my brother, we are responsible for the journey we take.
Yes.
For the endeavor we involve ourselves with in and for the cumulative effect of a life's experience. The poetry the song, the dance, the narration, the sequence, the venue. It becomes ourselves. A song or intimacy of fraternity.
It's, it's also seizing the moment and being able to recognize the magic within the moment.
Yes.
I know I've told you before a funny story. Sometimes I'll see some relatives. I'll see them, they say, "We never see you." And whenever I see them, they'll say, "We never see you, we never see you." And I tell them, this is it. It's right here. It's right now.
Yes.
You see me, I see you. Let's make the most of this moment. So I really think that to be in tune with that poetry of life, it's really about being in tune with the moment, seeing the power of the moment, to feel it, to enter it, to encounter it, and not to always be looking ahead or looking back. Because if that's the case, you're not in it. You'll always be outside of it.
Yes. There's nothing behind you, and there's nothing ahead.
It's right here.
This is it.
This is it. Absolutely.
Make it so.
That's right. So I think that's one of the most important components, most important aspects, elements, is to really be in tune with that magic in the moment.
Yes. With that intimacy.
Yes, with that intimacy.
Of spontaneity.
Exactly.
Instantaneous connectivity. We do in these shows that we do. We hear. We're in a sound stage. There's a technical crew beyond the curtains.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
That's right.
The wizard. The man behind the curtain.
That's it. And the women behind the curtain.
Yes. And we're the front men. The talking suits.
That's right.
As it were. Speaking, prepared, connected to what we're trying to espouse to our viewerships.
Yes.
The people behind the curtain and behind the television screen. The viewers.
Yes.
Our viewers. And we do these Fantasyman shows with the hope that we will elucidate our viewers to the potency and power of the creative arts and to an edutainment method, educational, entertaining, intellectual, analytical, and humorous.
Yes.
To become a master of one's own endeavorship.
I like the sound of that.
Yes.
And that's what's happening.
Yes. And we're the exponents.
Very true.
The harbingers of the clarion call, the town criers of the poetry of life.
Let me ask you a question, Miggy. When
Yes.
you think about artists or historical figures that embody that for you, who comes to mind?
I think the greatest artists that ever lived are the unknown artists, the ones that haven't yet to be discovered. I think the history of literature, of art, of film, of music, there's a litany of the greats. There's genres and venues and categories. There's poetry, biography, history, novels, short stories, autobiographies, science fiction, mystery, philosophy, psychology. Each one has its masters. Millions
Yes.
of venerable, popular numericals in every form, in every design, in every designation. But we bring it down to the singular. we bring it down to the one. I'm not interested in the greats. I'm interested in my peers.
Well said.
You know, I've been writing for 50 years. I've written 10 million words, 10,000 poems, 654 short stories,
Wow.
half a dozen novelettes, essays. I've recorded 400 songs. I've done over 200 television shows, half a dozen musical documentaries, half a dozen movies. I've invested as part of the poetry of my life an endeavor to utilize myself in the formative creative arts, in the utilization of the quaternity of the art forms in which I prefer to master: pictographic, literary, filmic, and musical. My music opens the show. You came to me. I'm a blues man. I go into a recording studio, and from start to finish, I record 2 hours.
That's the magic of the moment,
Yes,
and being able to tap into that.
tap into the zone, the creative zone, the alchemy zone, the mystic zone.
Mm. Let me ask you a question, another
Yes, my
question.
brother.
So, for people watching, what do you think are some of the obstacles people face in reaching that zone, and what are ways that they can overcome it?
Okay, the biggest obstacle is the self-limiting thought forms of the analytical mind.
Okay.
The doubting Thomas. I can't. Who am I? I never learned it. I don't have a degree. I have no money. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. I'm too old. I'm too ugly. Nobody cares. If you care, that's all that matters.
Amen.
You're never too fat. You're never too ugly. You're never too rich. Begin where you are, and thereby then go forth.
Well said.
Think high. Elevate your thoughts, but don't be constricted by them. Open up the horizon of your inner mind. Flow, and go with the flow. And believe. And don't set limits. And you're not winning a prize. You're having an experience,
Amen.
you know? So if I want an experience to draw, a pencil and paper. If I want an experience to write a poem, a pen and paper. If I want an experience to sing and dance, a cell phone and a friend filming me.
So you're saying basically it's the self-limiting ideas that people have about themselves that's
Yes.
usually the main obstacle that stops people from being able to experience a more poetic lifestyle.
I think, therefore I am.
I have to agree with you. I think
What
that's
you
very true.
think, okay, how you feel is what happens to you. What you think you can become. Do and believe when you do it. Don't negate it. Don't sequester it. Don't segregate it. Don't constrict it. Don't eliminate it.
Yeah, I feel another important way to overcome such obstacles is surrounding yourself with good people
Yes.
and like-minded friends that also want to really be in touch with that vibration. And that's when the magic really happens.
Light to light, water
That's
to
right.
water,
So I
element to element.
I think that's really important, is to have a good group of friends
A coterie, a cabal.
that you could bounce ideas off
Yes.
and really explore the creative territories, and people that believe in you and that you believe in them, and you have a common goal of leading that kind of a life, being in harmony with that poetic lifestyle.
Yes. And it's important to have an idea,
Absolutely.
to have a purpose, to have an agenda, to have an endeavor to sequence your creative manifestation. Your life is a poetic narrative, a beginning, middle, and an end each day. To feel good, to accomplish something, to share something, to learn to possess something. Direction, singularity, and purpose-driven reality.
Yes. It's interesting as well. It's the comfort zones that also can prohibit people from tuning in. And I think it's important to say that sometimes, if you really believe in something and you want that experience, you got to just step out of those comfort zones.
Yes.
And
Sometimes life becomes too cozy.
I got to tell you too, the first time I read poetry was amazing, live. And I played music for many years on stage with masks and pitchforks and all this crazy stuff.
Yes.
But the first time I read my poem to strangers in a small room, my body was shaking. It was like I had lightning going through me. I was so
Adrenaline,
nervous.
brother.
Yeah, I was so nervous.
Filled to
Because
capacity.
It was outside of my comfort zone.
Energetics.
Exactly. And
Creative
it was
alchemy.
authentic. It was authentic.
Yes.
It was something I wanted to do. It was outside of my comfort zone, and it was terrifying. But ultimately, it was rewarding. So it was an experience, and I'm personally glad I did that.
Yes. And great artists never lose that alchemy, that intimacy with expanding beyond the ordinary.
Absolutely.
The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary is the rush, the adrenaline, and the purpose. It's nice to know where you're going and get there.
Yes.
Life is too short if you travel around in circles.
Absolutely. And I also think that, there's, I feel as reading in ancient Greece, I know the alchemists spoke of something called keros, which means time.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, to have some kind of sense of the right moment, the movement, how to move in and out of that moment as well. And being aware, it's not always going to be soaring on the happy highs, but it's going to be a wave, the ups and downs, the ebbs and the flows.
Yes. The direction,
That's right.
the benefit of the poetry of life, the requirements, the mood and motion and emotion and direction, the stages, the asset of utilizing yourself to create your life, the forward motion, always forward, on the move, in the moment, utilizing the stages, the dreams and the visions. The beginning is you and your thought forms. The middle is your action. The end is your accruement, your accumulation of the experience. And each day is a new canvas. The melding of the minds that we have here, that you have with your poetic friends, your musical comrades, and that I have with mine. It's a benefit and beneficial
Very true.
to the one and to the fraternity of the one and the ones. The character that we possess is unique. The character that we invest in our character is the articulation of the poetry of our life. Come outside to go in.
Yes. And
The world outside is all inside.
what also comes to mind is the archetype of the fool stumbling into it,
Yes.
1 foot off the cliff. And I think that's such an important image because it shows that the inhibitions are out the door and you're ready to step into it with full faith that you'll go where you need to go and be where you need to be.
Yes.
Terence McKenna said it beautifully. He said, nature rewards courage. And if you take that leap into the abyss, you just might come to find it's really a feather bed. So I think there is this aspect in the poetic life of taking the risk, moving beyond the comfort zones, crossing the borders.
Terence McKenna was a beautiful soul,
Absolutely.
an illuminated man who used Asgawatha to transcend the limiting aspects of the mind.
Yes.
The purpose of the mystical arcana that could be used to transcend from one stage of the mind to another. The ayahuasca, mescaline, psilocybin, the alphabet drugs, marijuana. There's currently a discussion in America today. 10 states have recreational marijuana and 28 states have medical marijuana. Marijuana is medicinal, purposeful, and in Colorado, they're making $10 million a day tax revenues. It's saving the state's treasuries.
Fascinating.
It's part of a $1 trillion illegal economy, which was recreated during Prohibition
That's
in
right.
the Roaring '20s. They knew what it was. They knew it's purposeful. It used to be a medicine. It was legal till 1937. It should be legal. And if you're older than 21 and you don't smoke and drive and you smoke at home, I have a peace pipe to sell you.
To each their own, you know? It's,
Yes. And I like those big bowls.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you know, there's different. All paths lead to the way, right? So it's
Yes.
different ways.
There's
to
1,001 ways to get to the top of the mountain.
That's it.
And you heard of the lady who was on the top of the mountain looking at a tinker toy and she fell off?
I'm not surprised.
And the revenue way that the states are getting is people with their tinker toys.
It's you know, it's pretty crazy that.
Man is a herd animal. We have to be careful what we follow.
You're
what
right.
herd we ingest ourselves with.
It's true, and again, that brings us right into the heart of the topic again,
Yes, the
and
poetry of life.
in the
What-
moment, in that moment, because, I can't tell you, I see it all the time too. I'm on the train, but he's on their phone all the time,
Yes.
like this. They're out of it.
And I'm
You
on
know?
the phone right now because I don't have a phone. Never did, never will.
But it's
I'd rather look at the person I'm with.
That's right, and that's why it takes people out. People are at dinner. I've been out. I see a
Yes.
couple, and they're both on their
A
phones, right
man
across from each other.
is sitting with a beautiful woman.
It's crazy.
She's on her tinker toy. He's on his. And the only words they have together is, waitress.
That's right. So I'm going to tell you people out there, put the damn phone down for a second.
Wake up. Shake up.
You
And
know?
live.
Get in the moment.
Be.
Be in it.
See.
It's
Congest.
it can be frustrating
Yes.
sometimes. I see it it's everywhere, and it's a little scary because it's like George Romero prophesized the
Night of the Living
Night
Dead.
of the Living Dead. That's what it is. It's like Night of the Living Dead. And,
A great underground flick.
they
Made
thi-
for a $10,000 budget.
It's amazing though because the technology is astounding. All the information
Yes.
that's available at our fingertips is mind blowing.
And the most popular thing on the internet is pornography.
That's well, of course.
You do me a thrill.
Yeah, but
Before we leave,
All right.
adieu. Finito benito. Auf
Stay
Wiedersehen.
cool. Stay cool out there.
Be good. Hold fast the dream.
And stop looking at so much porno. Start reading some books.
Yes. Start writing some books. Be what you can be, and all you can be, and see within the light of illumination, the light of the vision, of the sight, of the insight, the spirit, the mysticism, and the wisdom of the ages. We wish the best because we know you're capable of creating the best. No less. And my brother, we're going to break a record here tonight.
Honor and a pleasure.
We're going to go for 4. We may be delusional. We may be alchemical. We may be biodegradable.
That's right.
But we'll do it. And if we don't, who will? You came to me in the dream night. You came to me in my dream sight. I had a vision of the light. You came to me in the nightlight.